Right now, I want to bring in our next guest to talk about what we're learning about the consumer spending. Sandra Campos is the former CEO at Diane von Furstenberg. She's also a CNBC contributor. And Sandra, what do you think just about the health of the consumer? If you were at a retailer right now, at a designer, you'd be doing what?
Well, what everybody is doing, which is tightening their belts, making sure that they're focusing on cash flow. Operating expense reductions, that's definitely something that we're seeing across the board. Improvements in gross margin. It's clear through everybody that you've talked about just now. And whether it's Walmart, whether it's Gap, margins are improving. So being able to really control inventory, make sure that you're lean in inventory, those are really essential as we go into fourth quarter and going into the new year in 2024.
I mean, is that something that investors should be lauding at this point? Like, look, you may be seeing less spend going on. You could be concerned about the consumer, but as long as you keep your inventories tight, as long as you manage it properly, it could be a good time for profits in this industry.
I see it that way, especially as we increase turns, we're reducing the inventory, there is less traffic. Consumer is definitely more focused on their discretionary spending just for the things that they do want, whether that's trend items, the sneaker, resale business. Those are still going really strong and really well. But people are really focused on what they really need, whether it's the essentials or the really special items. And I think that's going to carry forward into the gift-giving time period as we look at, sales have already started. As you mentioned, they started in October. But we're also going to see a lot more of that even in the luxury sector. But I do think that regardless, with company CEOs and company management focusing in on gross margins, focusing in on inventories being lean while still having their stocks and their shelves full for consumers, that's going to be an important telltale sign as we go into 2024 and really just have overall improvements, not just having sales for the sake of top line sales, but really having profitable businesses.
One thing that surprised me was what we've heard from luxury. This week, Burberry actually had pretty surprising weakness. And they pointed out it wasn't just China, it was also North America where they saw that weakness. So is that the beginning of a turn, not just for the lower-end customers who have had pressure for a while because of inflation, but maybe high-end shoppers are feeling the pinch too?
High-end shoppers are feeling the macroeconomic issues that we all see and are experiencing between the wars and just general depression around what could be happening and where the world is today. So I think when you look at typically, a recession, in recessionary times, luxury consumers are still spending, and they have been spending. But I think right now we just have a lot of additional macroeconomic issues that are really impacting everyone to really think through exactly what they're spending and what they're spending it on. That said, there's some areas that are still very strong. And you mentioned earlier, just from a prestige beauty and mass beauty, prestige is now, it has a 14% increase over last year, and mass beauty had a 10% increase over last year. We're going to start also talking about Gen Alpha soon. And Gen Alpha and that spend. And
Gen Alpha, what that comes after Generation Z? Circling back in the alphabet again?
Apparently we are. So that consumer is actually having a higher spend as well. So we're going to soon start hearing about them and what they're going to be impacting.
That is a new one to me. I didn't know what came after Gen Z. So it's kind of like tropical storm season. We're going to go back and start over.
How old are they?
It's true.
I don't know. Sandra, how old are they? That's again, news to me.
It's the tween age. So I think it's really roughly 15 and below.
Okay.
Because Gen Z is actually getting older. We think about Gen Z, but the older Gen Zs are in their like 24, 25-year-old age range.
Wow.
Some good ones, the Gen Zs.
Some good Gen Alphas, too. I've got some.
Yeah. Well, there's hope. There's hope. We got a lot riding on them.
That's
Get them spending early.